can stand up here if you want, or just say from there. Introduce me.
Guys, I've got a little treat for you this morning. I want to introduce somebody that's going to be working real close with us in the future. He's a new financing source for us, and I think he's got some information that he's going to share with you that's going to excite you. So with that, let me introduce to you Mr. Pat Farley of Olympic Financial. Pat, take it away.
That's correct. Thanks, Mr. Miller. I appreciate everybody's time. Before I start, again, my name is Pat Farley, and I want to start by saying I've been in your shoes. I started out in the car business selling cars. Actually, I started before that. I even washed cars and brought cars to the auction. But I was in sales. I was a finance manager, finance director, sales manager, and what a fleet manager and a lease manager. So I pretty much know what you people do. The company I represent is Olympic Financial, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of us. We are in our 7th year of existence, doing business in about 40 states. We have about 18 offices nationwide. Our office here is located in Eden Prairie, which just moved to Edina, and it's over by Southdale. It's not that big a deal, but we just want you to know we're local, and we buy out of a local office. Really what we are is an alternative to the finance sources that you have. And the sources that you have are typically, we'll say Chrysler Credit, and some of your local banks, which I'm sure they do a great job for you. And what we can do is fit a niche that they're not currently fitting into your store. Olympic Financial is the 4th largest independent indirect financier. I don't know if that's how you want to say it, but we're the 4th largest behind GMAC, Ford Motor Credit, and Chrysler Credit. If you notice up here, I put the car biz, but before I start, anybody here a sports fan?
Oh yeah.
Got some sports fans here. I'm going to give you a little trivia question, and every person that gets right, I'm going to give them $20. $20 out of my own pocket.
All right, all right.
The question is, name the 3 states that have hosted the 4 major sporting events, or 4 major sports, championship series or championship games.
What 4 major sports are you talking about?
Hockey, basketball, football, and baseball. Not the teams that have been in it, but the states that have hosted the 4 major championships. Okay?
Is that it?
And why don't you guys think about it, because I know you're not going to get it right.
Piece of cake. Is it Minnesota? Is it California? And is it Michigan?
At the end of this, I will, no smart asses here either. At the end of this, I'll ask you for the answer. But just think about it. Whoever gets it gets $20. How's that sound? Make it worth your while to come here today. Let me start out by saying we got, what, about 10 people here? How many of you have been in the business since 1980? Who was in the car business in 1980?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
What? When did you get in the biz?
Oh, about 78.
78, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And you've been selling the whole time?
Yep.
Wow. You do pretty good then? You must.
Yeah, I'm about to get the hang of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to use you a little bit if you don't mind. Let me use your brain.
Okay.
So in 1980, you were in the biz.
Right.
In 1980, what do you suppose? Actually, let me
Napkin in the bathroom.
let me grab a rag.
Okay. Kleenex.
Let me graph this out a little better than this. 1980, what was the average selling price of a new car? New car selling price?
Oh, average price car, probably $7,000-8,000.
Yeah, that's about right. It was about $7,500. Okay. In 1980, what do you suppose was the average term for a finance contract on a
Number
car?
of months?
Yeah.
Probably 36 to 48.
That's pretty close. You know your stuff, don't you? Actually, the average was about 42 months. Okay. What about rebates in 1980?
What's a rebate?
Yeah, in 1980 there really wasn't any, was there?
No.
Yeah, you're correct. There wasn't any. We'll put 0. Were they decent rates in 1980? Finance rates, what were they about?
Oh, they were through the roof at that point.
Yeah, it was kind of Jimmy Carter's last
15 to 20%.
Last stand.
Yeah, somewhere right in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Actually, rates in 1980 were about 16%. In 1980, on a finance contract, how much you suppose the average down payment was?
Well, they were asking for 10% way back then, but you probably couldn't get it. So you're probably looking at maybe $500.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 500 bucks. In 1980, were there any payment buyers per se?
No, not really.
There wasn't, was there?
Payment wasn't an issue back then.
Right. What about when a person traded in their car? Did they have any trade equity?
Yeah, most of them did, because prior to that, they'd only been financing for 36 months. So they built equity in a real quick manner back then.
You're exactly right. And in 1980, was there any leasing?
No, I don't think so. I think it came after that.
There was leasing. But there wasn't really showroom leasing, as we know today. There was open-end leasing, where the customer, the lessee, would guarantee the residual, which was a bad deal. But it was going on back in 1980. And it was really for more your big companies. Who's in the biz in 1986? How many people?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Selling price. What's the average selling price in 1986?
Oh, that same car probably went up probably about $5,000. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
12.5?
Something like that.
Yeah, actually it's about 12 grand.
Is it?
What about terms? What were the average terms in 1986?
You probably went probably 48 to 60, something like that.
Yeah, you could go 60 months, but the average was about 54. That's what it averaged out to.
Okay.
What about rates? What
Skipped
happened?
rebates.
What's that?
You skipped rebates.
Yeah, I know, but in 1986, what happened?
Well, rates had come dramatically down. They had come down to an all-time low.
Right.
Not all-time, but they were normal.
And what was the manufacturer, whether it's General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, what were they offering?
They were offering rebates at that time.
Yeah, they were offering rebates or
Incentive money.
low financing,
Yeah, they
7.7 and
Yeah, they bought the rate
7.9
down.
and 2.9, and then it just kept feeding off itself.
Right.
So rebate averages, if you took the rebate, then you would have pretty much normal financing. But if you didn't take the rebate, you'd have the low factory-sponsored financing. But the average rebate in 1986, how much you think?
It's not as much as it is now. $500?
You think about 500?
5, 7, 8?
Yeah, actually the average was about 750. So it was, 500 to $1,000. And rates, again, it was 2.9 to probably 10%, something like that, depending on if you took the rebate or not.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What about down payment? Did we have a down payment? Were we getting a big down payment? What was the average down back in 1986?
Well, obviously since cars are going up, people didn't have a lot of money. It's probably the same $500.
That's correct.
That's where they are today, as a matter of fact.
Right. Because what happened is, you've got a longer term now. You got a higher price car, but a longer term, and you either have a rebate or a special financing. So $500 was about the average down. In '86, did we have payment buyers?
Yeah, because of the cars had gone higher,
Right.
and payment was becoming a major concern.
Yep, that's correct. How about trade equity?
Yes and no.
Right. So you were starting to see a lot of negative equity, but there was still some positive equity.
Because at that point, you were doing 42 months before.
Right.
So you're not building as much equity.
So right here, it's probably even. On the average, the customer they didn't have equity, but they weren't without equity either. What about leasing? Was there showroom leasing in 1986?
Open-end leasing.
Well, really in '80 there was open end.
Not according to your chart.
What's that?
Not according to your chart.
There was an open end leasing in '86.
Your chart says it is.
No, there was closed end leasing. You know what closed end leasing is? There's a difference between open and closed end. Open end is where the customer has to guarantee the residual, and closed end is where the lender guarantees the residual.
Right.
Okay? So what was happening in 1986 is there was a lot of closed end leases, but what kind of leases were they?
Longer term.
Exactly. They were
48, 60 months.
exactly. So let's put, there was leasing and it was 60 plus months. In some cases it was 66 months, depending on where you were at. When I was in F&I in 1986, and I was working at a Honda store, and we used to do a lot of 66-month leases. And was that good for the customer?
No.
Some cases it was okay, but most cases they didn't want that car for 66 months. So basically they were buried until they made that 66-month payment.
Unless they were going to keep it for a long period of time. And of course, that type of car you could.
Right, exactly.
Of course, maybe that gave them a lower payment, probably.
$1996. What's the average price of a car today?
You talking about in our store?
No, overall.
Well, if you put Cadillac and Mercedes and all those people in there.
Not considering those.
Yeah, but
Don't
you're
get
saying
smart with me,
overall,
pal.
I mean, but you're saying Mercedes and you're also saying Hyundai.
Total overall.
20, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's about 20 grand.
In our store, it's probably 15, 16.
Um,
But overall, it's probably 20.
yeah, depending on the store you're at,
Yeah.
it's $20,000. How about term?
60 plus.
Yeah, it's 60 months, sometimes 72 months, sometimes 84 months.
Who's got 84 months?
There are lenders that do 84 months. What about rebates? Do we have rebates?
higher,
What's the average rebate today?
$1,000 to $2,000. Some size $3,000 and $4,000.
Sometimes even higher with dealer incentives and so on. What about rates? What's the average rate these days?
8 to 10 to 12.
Depending on the deal, you could say 8 to 12%.
Right.
Okay.
Good credit.
What about down payment?
Still the same.
Down payment $500 on the average?
Yeah.
And do we have payment buyers today?
Is there any other kind?
Yeah, almost, whether people know it or not, they're payment buyers.
Right.
They're making one large payment, or they're doing a home equity loan, or they're financing through the dealership. There are payment buyers, and they need to fit it in their monthly budget. What about trade equity? When these cars come in, is there trade equity?
Are you talking about, are any of our customers upside down?
Yeah,
3 or 4? Out of 4.
4 out of 4.
Yeah. No, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
So
obviously,
there's
yes.
pretty much no trade equity on the average. How about leasing?
Yes. Closed in.
Closed-end leasing, and what?
24, 36 months.
Exactly, short-term leasing. Is that good?
Yes.
Yep. So we have short-term leasing. And that's good because you get the customer back in 2 to 3 years. You got a decent car to put on your used car lot, and a customer back to get another vehicle. So it's a good deal. Let's just take a look at what's happened over the past 16, 17 years. Looks like cars have almost tripled. Terms are over 60 months just to get the payment to fit the customer's budget. Rebates have increased anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, where in 1980 there wasn't any. Rates, actually they've gone, I mean that's gotten better. That's helped the customer to afford more vehicle as well. But if you notice, percentage-wise, the down payment has gone down if you compare it to the price of the car. It's $500 across the board. In the last 17 years, the average down payment is the same. And this is not me talking. This is research done by USA Today. Payment buyers, back in '80, we didn't have payment buyers. People could afford their cars because they're only $7,500. Today they're $20,000, so everybody's a payment buyer. Trade equity? No, because they're only putting $500 down on a $20,000 car, financing it for over 60 months. And leasing, these are the best leases that there is available over the last 17 years. Short-term leasing, it's good for the dealership. It's good business overall. Any questions?
No.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you out a copy of this, and I'll hand it out to everybody. And so you have this. I need a tamper rag in this. So, the car biz. How's your month last month? Have a good month?
Not as good as we wanted, but do we ever have one that good?
Well, I hope so.
I always want to sell more.
That's true.
Just like you want to loan more.
Even when you hit your goals, you want to sell more, right?
Right.
your old blackboard, what all I gotta do is grab the eraser and go for it.
Right.
What I did is I looked up a 1993 Tempo, and you would probably own that vehicle. Your cost, or what it's payable from, is about $10,000. I'm just going to use this kind of just to show you what kind of things happen when you work a car deal. Let me ask you this. How much do you like to make when you sell a car?
All you can.
And what's all you can?
Typically $3,000-4,000.
$3,000 to $4,000 grosses. That's what you like to make. What's your
You
average?
said all you can.
Okay, what's your average?
Probably 1,000.
1,000 your average, and you like to make 3,000 or 4,000?
Sure.
Would you say your average is about 2,000 then, or it's $1,000? We'll use your numbers if you want. $1,000?
No, go ahead and use your numbers. I mean, it's your story.
What would you think? On the average, what would you like to make on a car?
Are you asking the salesman this question?
Yeah,
What's he gonna say?
he's going to say typically $2,000.
Okay.
On a
$2,000.
$10,000 car that you own it for 10 grand, it's payable from 10 grand. What would you like to make on it? And figuring out that the dealer's gross, you're making 35% of the gross, for example, maybe 30%, depends on the dealer. But say you're at 30%. If it's 2 grand, you're making about 600 bucks.
Right.
So, should we say about 2 grand?
Yeah.
Okay. So $2,000, this is cost, this is profit, and the guy's got a trade, and typically,
It's upside down.
exactly, and what is a typical average customer upside down?
Probably more than $1,000.
Okay. 1,500? Okay. On the average, we're upside down about $1,500. We'll just put this in parentheses because it's negative. That's my little sign for being upside down. Okay, just to make this simple, I'm not going to put sales tax, credit insurance, or service contract in here. But this is just to show you an example of what's going on in the lending business. If you add this up, it's $13,500. Correct?
One of them is negative, so if you take the negative, it's actually 10,500.
No. He's upside down 1,500, so you got to add that into the total. This is the amount you need to finance,
Okay.
not including tax or license
Right.
or service contract,
Okay.
just to keep
Yeah.
it simple.
Okay.
Okay. If you sent this deal into a lender, if you had this customer fill out an application, and you sent it in to your lenders, what would be the response?
Well, there's 3
Or responses?
There's 3 responses.
Okay,
Versus they could approve it.
all right. You're saying that the lenders you deal with, one of them's going to,
I said they could. Didn't say that they would.
on the average, do they approve this deal?
It's probably gonna be declined.
You're going to say that flat turn it down?
Yeah.
Okay. And, I mean, you said they could approve it.
Right, that's one thing.
All right, I'm going to put that up here. They could turn it down.
And the other thing they do is condition. That's the only thing they do to any deal, is those 3 things.
You're saying need more down?
That's one condition.
All right.
Or they'll let you sell the car, but for less money.
So, lower the gross profit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lower what you're asking for. Yeah, lower, yeah.
Less, selling price, maybe?
Right,
In other words, lower gross.
right. Lower price, which equals lower gross.
Okay. Anything else you can think of?
There's probably something else, but I can't think of it right now.
Would it be possible that
More
they
money.
might approve this dollar amount, but they wouldn't give you the term you need?
Yeah, they could condition the term.
Okay. Or vice versa? In other words, they would give you the term that you need, but they won't give you the dollar amount, which is kind of falling back into their condition it, you know, instead of giving you a call at 12.5 instead of 13.5.
Yeah.
Okay. And what if you spotted this car on a Saturday? This customer, you spotted it at, you know, the guy was a payment buyer and you spotted it at, I don't know, 66 months and at 13.5, and all of a sudden it's Monday. You can't put the deal together with any lenders because this is their response, including could approve it. And if you got it approved, the guy's happy, everybody's happy. But what happens if the rest of this happens?
You don't have a deal.
Guess what? You got to call the customer.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you need more down, what's the customer going to say?
Well, I already
Typically.
already worked him for more money down.
Right.
He said no.
What about lowering the gross profit to put the deal together?
Yeah, we could do that. Don't
Yeah.
make any money if we do it.
Still, you'd save the deal, but you still have to make that call to the customer to get them back in to re-sign them.
Right.
Or you have to lower the term. Well, what happens when you lower the term? You got to call the customer up and say your payment's higher than you thought it was going to be.
You got to recon.
Pretty much all these scenarios, you got to call the customer up and get them back in.
4 out of 5 of it.
Yeah, exactly. And hypothetically, say you get a lower selling price, you lower your gross profit. Maybe you put more in the trade. But then when you go to sell that trade, you're going to make less on that trade than you could have. So really, you're lowering your gross profit. But say you put more in the trade, lower the gross profit on the new vehicle, keep the deal together, have the customer come back in and sign out. Are all parties happy? Is everybody happy?
Well, it's better than jabbing out with a sharp stick. They're not ecstatic.
Right. But you have a customer who's probably happy. I mean, he got what he wanted. It was inconvenient because he had to come back in and re-sign, but he came in to re-sign for a lesser price, so he's probably happy. What about the sales manager? Is he happy?
Made a little money.
Yeah, he's happy. I mean, he got a deal down the road. But he had a customer agreeing to a price where he could have made $1,000 more. So he's happy, but he's not happy about losing $1,000. What about you? Are you happy?
Made some money.
You got a Mini.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were going to make $600. Now it's $300 probably because you're taking $1,000 off. Any questions? Let's play a little game here. Let's build our own finance company. What do you think?
Okay.
Man, I'd love to have an eraser that works better than a damp rag.
You won't ever help us.
My sales crew is out peeing right now, so you have to bear with me. Okay, sales crew, are you done peeing?
I'm ready. Send me in, Coach.
Okay, let's build a finance company. Let's build the ultimate finance company. Keeping in mind, you want this finance company around. You don't want them to be gone in 5 years, or even a year. You want them here in 5 years. You want them here in 10 years. You are on the board of directors. You want this finance company to make some money, okay? Let's build a finance company based on what we just talked about. What would be some of the things you would want this finance company to do?
Well, you want to give good terms.
Okay, so you want the finance company to give you extended terms,
Right.
for those payment buyers.
Right.
Okay, what else?
Want good rates,
Want good rates,
so you can get some good payments.
and you want the lowest rate in town. You want
Don't have
what?
to have
What
the
do you
lowest.
want? You want competitive rates.
Competitive rates.
Okay. What else?
You want them to buy deep.
Buy deep, meaning
Meaning that they're going to approve customers that maybe some other lending institutions would turn down.
okay. And how deep do we want them to buy?
Well, we want to buy every deal that we send.
We want to buy the guy who had a bankruptcy a month ago.
Well, that might not be realistic.
Okay. Yeah, because it's your money.
Yeah.
You want to buy what Community Credit's buying, which are the slugs, the mutts, or whatever way you want to say it. Or do you want the guy who is
Well, you'd want a good portfolio.
right? He's marginal, but you want to give him some way to go.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
Have a program for the guy who
With less
maybe
than
has
30.
had some problems, but is starting to reestablish himself, has a good job, has a good
Yeah, a guy that's hit a
owns his
pothole.
house, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What would we call that? I don't know. Just buy the customer. How about buy customer? Buy customer.
Yeah, buy marginal customer.
Buy customer first and buy for I don't know how would maybe the C type buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. And have extended terms available for that type of buyer,
Right.
because they're payment buyers as well. Okay. What else? What was that scenario we did? What was wrong with? Why was one of the reasons that was turned down? You're upside down 1,500. You want to make 2,000, and the cost was 10 grand.
Didn't have enough money down? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you'd want a lender to over advance.
Okay.
You'd want all the money.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to be stupid, but
So you want a good advance.
and that comes into, buy the customer first. But You'd want over advance. What else?
Gosh, I don't know anything.
Would you, would you want a lender to be consistent? You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
be always making the same calls, don't make
Yeah.
one call one way one time and another call different another time. So let's say consistent. What else?
You want him to be able to talk to this buyer.
Talk and would you want proof of the call?
Yeah.
So,
But most lenders give you a call back.
And facts. But you want to be able to talk to them.
Mhm.
How about what hours are you open here?
All the time.
And most dealers are, right? So you'd want to be able to talk to somebody when you're open.
Got
So,
extended hours.
yeah, how about retail hours? Anything else? Would you want to deal with a lender that's understands the car biz?
Yeah, I want somebody local.
Does Chrysler understand the car biz? Chrysler Credit or Credit, GMAC? Sometimes you wonder, don't you?
Yeah.
So you would want a lender to understand your biz, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's what it is. Can you think of anything else?
Extend first payment.
Extend the first payment, how far? Just
Maybe
beyond
maybe-
the normal
yeah.
45 days,
Yeah.
have the ability to,
Maybe go 2 months.
okay. So say 2 months to first payment,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else? I know one thing the dealer would like is their money quick. Doesn't probably make not much to you, but if a lender didn't pay you fast, I'm sure you would hear about it if it was your deal. So should we say like fast funding?
Right.
Okay. Can you think of anything else?
That's about it.
Would this be a good example of a lender you'd like to do business with? I mean, it's a perfect example of the deal, the test case we just had, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? You just described Olympic Financial. This is what we do, and we do it consistently. We're open until 5 on Saturday. We're open until 8 o'clock during the week, except Fridays. We're open until 5:30. Any questions? And typically they'll have questions like, what's your terms? How far do you go?
Okay.
On a 93, we'll go 72 months. On a 92 and 91, we'll go 60 months. That's just an example. If it's a good customer, not the C customer, we'll go any year vehicle, any mileage vehicle. If it is a C customer, we'll still do that guy, but we want them in the right vehicle. We don't want them to have a high mileage vehicle because the two just don't mix. And again, we're open retail hours. We understand your biz. Half the people that work for our company were in the car biz. I was in the car biz. I was in the car biz for 12 years. My partner Jimmy here, he was in it for 3 years. We pretty much understand your business because we've been there. Our rates are competitive, whether it's an A, B, or C type buyer. And we can help you out when it comes to the payment buyer. Based on everything we talked about here today, can our program help you sell more cars?
Yeah.
Can you see how we can help you make more gross profit? If we go back to that one deal, you might have got that deal down the road, but you wouldn't have made as much money. Can we help you make more money?
Yeah.
Jimmy, how many cars a month do you sell on the average?
Probably 15.
15 a month?
Yeah.
Based on what we've talked about here, how many more do you think you can sell?
If you just let me sell one or two more. It'd
So,
be great.
2 more a month?
Yeah.
And you think that'll put a little bit more money in your pocket?
Sure.
Plus, some of the 15 that you sell, we could probably help you make more money on those, correct?
Looks like it.
So we got 10 salespeople here. Does everybody agree we could probably help you sell 2 more cars a month?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
That's 20 contracts a month. Can I get a commitment of 20 contracts a month?
Yeah.
If we do what we say we do?
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's about it for me. I appreciate everybody coming in. And let's see if I owe anybody $20. What's the answer? Jimmy, I know you got it. You get 20 bucks.
Yay!
Again, I appreciate everybody coming, and I'm always available if you need to talk to your finance manager or whoever's at the sales desk or whatever. If you got any questions, feel free. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But otherwise, I appreciate your time. Sometimes there's some questions.
Yeah.
But exactly. Thank you very much.
Good job.
All right. All set? 3, 2, 1, go. Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Mr.
Thanks.
Farley, how are you?
Good. Thanks for your time.
Well, it's good to see you again.
How's it going?
My world's good. How's yours?
Great.
Good.
Nice. Have a good month last month?
Well, not as good as we wanted.
Yeah, I talked to Mark, and he said your inventory was down.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a reason for that. So, it's just a temporary situation.
You're going to build it back up,
Yeah.
try to get your numbers up again.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
What else is going on?
Probably your numbers on me were not as good as they have been. Is that true?
Yeah, but actually, year to date, you guys are doing great with us. And I appreciate the business. They were off last month, but overall, you guys do a great job with us. Last month we booked 16 contracts, and typically we book about 26 a month on the average. And we'd like higher than that even. I mean, we'd like to get to 40 a month, and with the size of your store, we should probably get to 40. And I've talked to your sales managers about that. And I don't know, do you feel you can get to 40 with us?
Yeah, probably.
Let me just show you a couple things.
Okay.
What are you selling now anyway, mostly? You selling mostly new or mostly used?
Mostly used. We're probably at a 65-35 split.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's more used than last time I talked to you. That's pretty good. Of course, that's when you make all your money too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're getting a lot. You're getting a lot more customers that used to buy new cars buying used now. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah.
Just because of the price of the cars.
All right.
And of course, the customer's a lot more educated these days than they used to. I notice you guys are advertising payments more too.
I always think that people buy payments more.
Yeah, that works out pretty good for you, especially on used cars.
Yeah.
All I really wanted to do, Jimmy, is just kind of update you, because I know you've seen a few articles in the paper on us and what we've been doing.
Right.
And really, since the last time I talked to you, which was probably, about a year ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to talk to you, but not really in depth about the company.
Right.
The additions we've made to our company are a couple things, but I just want to show you this graph. In the last 3 years, this is how we've grown, and I know you've looked at us, and you guys signed up with us when we were nothing. And now we have about 7,000 dealers signed up with us.
So
And
you guys
actually,
are continuing to grow then, aren't you?
We're growing at a pace of about 100 dealers a day.
Wow.
So it's going fast. And these are originations, the loans in the last 3 years. Last year we did just over $2 billion. Next year we want to do about $4 billion. So it's been going good. Here's the other thing I wanted to show you. And you're familiar with our Classic program, aren't you? I know it wasn't in place when I talked to you last time, but Classic is for more than marginal customer.
Well, refresh my memory.
Okay. This is our Classic guideline, basically. This is what the buyer looks at
So who's the Classic program for?
for the more marginal type customer.
Okay.
You know, you've got your A, B type customer, and then you've got your C type customer. C is pretty much this type of customer.
What would you call an A customer?
A,
Mm-hmm.
good job time, good, been at his residence, owns his house, and good credit, previous car credit. That's good. Debt to income under 40%. What would you consider an A?
Yeah, something like that.
About the same thing.
Yeah.
And a B is pretty much the same category, except he's had some glitches, you know, maybe, I was going to say divorce. I went through a divorce, but I won't bring that up, Jimmy, because I know you just got divorced. How'd that go anyway? Just kidding, Jimmy.
It's the best divorce I ever had.
No, B is pretty much the same thing, except they've had some glitches, maybe a judgment that's been satisfied, or
Use flows or something like that.
yeah, exactly. But they pay their cars very good. Their car credit is good. And then a C is for a guy who's, you know, maybe had a bankruptcy 2 or 3 years ago, has established himself a little bit since then, has been on the job, you know, good job time, good residence, you know, he's from the area, that type of thing. And anything beyond that, we're really not looking for. I mean, there's other companies that pretty much fill that niche for you. And I see Mark told me you signed up with a discount lender, and that's kind of the same thing they're after, or maybe even community credit, that type of thing. We really haven't got into that paper, and we've looked at it. So maybe someday we will, but right now we're not doing that.
Okay, so this is your Classic programs for the C customer, is that what you said a minute ago?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the other thing we've done that we've added, and this is probably the most exciting part, is if your finance people sign a customer out at our buy rate,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's a 1994 or older, and that'll change the first of the year, it'll be 1995 and older, we'll give them a flat. If it's over 10 grand, we'll give them $400.
Okay.
And again, that's between 10 and 20 grand. If it's over 20 grand, we give them $500 on a flat.
Okay, so you're saying if we do it at the buy rate, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
What that'll do is, I mean, say you got a customer, he's sole in the payment, you've got it marked up, say 1.5 points, and your reserve is $380.
Right.
Well, you're better off just going to the buy rate, taking the 400 and rolling the profit into a service contract or credit insurance, some kind of product. Because basically you're going to have the same payment, you're just going to increase your profit on the back end.
Yeah, I'd make $20 more on the reserve than what you're telling me, and then I
Right.
still sell some product on top of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if the front end is working a deal and they don't want to throw the finance manager under the bus, but they have a situation where, you know, they have to go to the buy rate, the finance office still has the ability to make some money.
Right.
And the good part about that is, because when you mark up a deal with us, we'll pay you the reserve, and we pay it up front on, right with the draft. I know you're aware of that.
Yeah.
And you're paid 75% of whatever the reserve is, no chargeback after 90 days. In this situation, it's $400. It's straight 400. It's not 75% of 400. You get the whole thing. No chargeback after 90 days.
That's good.
It's great. So
Why does
you
it
really
work-
got to analyze.
Why does that work that way? Because the rest of it's not that way. The rest of reserve, if I made the 380, I'm gonna get 75% of the 380 that we talked about a minute ago, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't know how you're set up with your other lenders, but
But why are y'all paying me 100% of this and only 75% of the other?
just because,
Y'all are nice guys.
yeah, I mean, we're trying to earn more business, and we pay the highest flat in the industry now, and that's really another thing. We're kind of a leader. We've done things over the years, and other lenders have copied us. We're always trying to come up with new ideas, and this is just another example of how we can help you sell more cars and make more gross profit. So, and all I really wanted to do is update you on what we're doing. The other thing I wanted to show you is we have a program that's called the Gross Profit Analysis, and we kind of analyze how we're doing in your store. And in this is the form here.
Okay.
And this is kind of just a typed up average, and it's really not any store in particular.
Okay.
This is on new and used, and this is on used. What I wanted to show you is I did this last month with another Ford store. I'm not going to tell you what Ford store because I don't think that's fair. I'm sure you wouldn't want me
Right.
showing this to another Ford store and say, yeah, this is Elk River Ford's numbers.
Right.
But if you look at this, and this is kind of confusing, but I'll just go over it one by one with you. New car front end gross with Olympic Financial. Okay? There was 7 contracts
Okay.
booked. Okay?
Okay.
This was the gross. This is the front end gross, 11,344.
Okay.
New car F&I gross was 8,390 for a total of 19,734.
Okay.
Okay? Now there was 24 used car contracts.
Right.
Okay? This was the front end gross, 28,604. Used car finance gross, 26,205. Total used car gross, 54,809. Okay?
Compared to 19, but you did 3 times.
Well, let me show you.
So, okay, go ahead.
Let me show you this. Total front end gross, not talking about F&I gross, just front end gross, 39,948.
Okay.
Okay? F&I gross was about $5,000 under that. But this is the total, almost $75,000. Okay? On what, 31 contracts.
Okay.
Now, if you divided this by 31, that's the average gross profit.
On both.
Exactly. $2,404. That's what we average with this Ford store.
Okay.
Okay? And if we just look at front end gross,
And so all these are averages down here, is that what you?
Right.
Okay.
this is the average front end gross on a new car, 1620 on a new car.
Okay.
I mean, how much do you average on your new cars?
That's good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was really surprised at that. Again, it was only 7 deals, but still.
It's still a good average.
Exactly. Used car front end gross, it was 1191.
Well, those numbers are just reversed.
Yeah,
This number should be over here, this number should be over there.
you would think so.
Yeah.
But again, that's an average, and that's on 24 contracts.
Okay.
Front end gross. F&I gross, almost $1,200 on the new car, which is very
Still
high as well.
Yeah.
F&I gross on used is 1,091. So total on 30, let's see, used car, or that's total gross profit.
That's the wrong number right there.
Right, that's your total used, 2283. Total front end gross. This is the total new and used put together on 31 deals. Front end gross was 1288.
No, this is the right number.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
That's unused.
Yeah.
Then here's your F&I, and this is your combined. So again, we're averaging over $2,000 a deal basically for this dealer. I mean, it's only 31 deals, but these numbers don't lie.
Right.
Now what I did is I took other lenders, non-Olympic financial deals,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the same thing. New car front end gross, $7,275. New car F&I gross, 3626, total of 10,901. Used car front end gross, $30,021. Used car F&I gross, 33,996, and so on. Okay. Totals, 74,918. That's total F&I, total front end gross, new and used. Okay. On how many contracts? 39 contracts total, for an average of 1920. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the averages, their average, other lenders, $1,039. Ours is $1,620. We do $581 better a contract on the average. New car F&I gross. Theirs is $518. Ours is $1198. We're $680 better.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Who is they? Did you tell me that this dealership sold 70 cars last month?
No. These are just their finance contracts they had last month. This dealer sells about 150 cars a month.
So, and we've got 31, we've got 39, that adds up to 70. So where's the other 80 cars that didn't sell for cash?
They paid cash, or they were leased, or whatever.
I mean, this is all Ford Motor Company contracts?
It could be Ford Motor Credit, it could be their local lender, it could be whoever.
Bank or
Yeah,
whoever.
exactly.
So that dealership only financed 70 deals last month?
Yep, on 150.
That's less than 50%.
Yeah, you're right, but I think they did about,
That seems very low.
I think they did about 30 leases. I'm not including leases
Yeah,
here.
you can't include leases.
Exactly. So actually 120 financeable deals, and they did 70. So they're at probably about 60%, which is pretty average, a little above average.
Okay.
Anyway, new car gross combined F&I and front end. They're at, our average is 2819. Their average is 1557. $1,262.
Okay.
That's how much more we made per deal over the other lenders. Here's the used cars. Pretty much the same story. It's not as high though. We're still $253 better, and F&I gross we're almost the same, just $29 better. Total we're $283 better. But total front end gross we're $332 better. Now, let me ask you, you sell about 200 cars a month, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many finance? Say you finance 50%.
I'll finance more than that.
But say it's only 50, so that's 100
Okay.
contracts a month,
Right.
right? So 100 times 1,200 contracts a month. What's 12?
You mean a year?
I mean a year.
Okay.
What's 1,200 times 332? Well, let's just say it's 300.
Well, it's 33.
It's $36,000 more. Could you live with that?
a year.
Could you live with that more extra cash?
I'll get squeezed in my second account.
Exactly. Total F&I were $151 better. Overall, all the gross combined, front and back, new and used, $484 better. And again, if you multiply that, that's almost $500 by 1,200. What do you get? About $60,000, is that correct? $60,000 more gross profit a year. Just, I mean, using, it's not your store, but just using that as an example. What I'd like to do is I want to meet with your sales managers again and your F&I, and I'd like to sit down with your sales people and have a sales meeting with them, okay? And really not get into rate, but just go over some of the stuff that we can do to help them sell more cars.
Didn't you do that, one of those meetings for me when we first got started?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? You never done one of those?
No, and I apologize. I should have. But as you know, Joe Blow signed you up back in 1992, and I wasn't with the company then. Actually, I was in the car biz. I was in the car biz for 12 years.
Okay.
So, and I apologize. I should have. Here's the thing. We do very well with you. So, I've just kind of left you alone and let you gone on. But I think there's more there. And I think if we can get 10 to 20 more deals a month over your average, I just think that's 10 to 20 more deals that you guys could sell a month. So in other words, if you're selling 200, you should be at 250.
What does this report look like for me?
That's what I'm getting to. Again, I'd like to meet with your sales managers. Then I'd like to meet with your, have a meeting with your salespeople, and just kind of go over qualifying. I'll bring the paper buyer with. And once I've done that, in 90 days, I want to come back and do one of these on your store. And I want to make sure we're doing what we say we do. And if we're not, I want to find the areas that we're weak in and correct it.
Why do you say 90 days? What do I look like right now?
If you want me to do it right now, I can. You want me to do it right now?
Yeah, I'd like to see what we look like.
Why don't we do this?
Is the same thing true in my store as it is in this store?
Why don't we do this?
Because if this is true, I want to do more business with you.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want it? I mean, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
Why don't we do this though? Why don't I do one for, not last month because that was a down month. How about August? I'll do one for August. And then in 90 days, I'll come back and do another one and we'll compare the two.
Okay,
What do you think?
sounds good.
Okay. And if everything looks good, you think we can get 40 contracts a month?
Well, if this is an indication of what you guys are doing for me, then I want to try to get more contracts in your hand.
Okay. 40 is a good number. I want more than 40, but I think at a minimum it would be 40. And I want to get the same commitment out of your people.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. When's your next sales meeting?
In the morning?
Tomorrow morning?
Yeah. Have one every morning.
With all your sales crew, the whole crew's there, new and used?
Well, no, just the people that are on the morning shift,
When's your next complete?
Saturday,
Saturday morning? What time?
9 o'clock.
9 a.m.?
Uh-huh.
Would you like me there at 9, or do you want me at like 9:30 after your portion?
Well, you said do what we do.
Okay, and then you want to just introduce me when you're
Unless
finished?
you just want to wait until the end.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
How about 9 o'clock Saturday?
okay,
And I'll bring the rolls.
okay.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, appreciate your time, Mr. Miller, and I will see you on Saturday.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Farley.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
What do you think?
Lay down! Did I lay down or what?
Oh, yeah.